Your confidence disappears in midlife. Yes, it does for sure. But there is an evidence-based roadmap to get it back. I'm a best-selling author and I'm middle-aged. And I'm going to give you the science on it now and my takeaways throughout this video. We're looking at it now to see how midlife can rebuild your confidence after years of self-doubt. So let's get straight to it. Whoops. Heads or tails, crisis or opportunity, because it's two sides of one coin. The Chinese way of things, that's the way they think, more so. Now let's look at the research by Nielsen. And he looks at a study exploring why certain hospital departments maintain better health mentally and lower sick leave despite stressful conditions. It found that work, pride and confidence supported by strong leadership, teamwork and trust were key drivers to the workplace success. Now for middle-aged men in whatever industry you're in, this is important because we can redirect it. Whatever's in the research can help us. Do you remember the speech by Jimmy Carter in 1979, A Crisis in Confidence? Well, the research claims it. And this speech argues that America's biggest problem at the time wasn't economic, it was a loss of confidence, purpose, and sheer direction. People felt disconnected, uncertain about their future, and overly focused on material success instead of meaning and collective goals. Now, both texts I just mentioned from the research highlight the same underlying issue at different levels, whether it be in the workplace or at a national level. That confidence and purpose are foundational. When people are low in belief in work, leadership or future, performance, health and unity begin to collapse. So let's reclaim them. How? Well, in work, build a personal work pride. By taking ownership of your contribution, you're doing a great thing for yourself. Focus on the mastery, that will give you pride and it protects against burnout. Try to strengthen your sense of purpose. Know your why, because your work matters. Yes, indeed, this comes from the research. Link daily tasks to bigger outcomes. When you're scrubbing away in the corner, know that you're scrubbing away at life outside of your 9 to 5 and that problem can be solved that's coming to mind. Purpose drives long-term resistance and resilience too. Prioritize trust in relationships, be it in work or at home, because building strong-term workplace connections are so important. You'll feel better after the 9 to 5. Support your colleagues when you can and seek support. And don't be afraid to open out and say, even if I'm a leader, sure, look, I need a hand now and then, because trust reduces stress and isolation. Try to seek an environment with good leadership. It's easy enough to say, I went to this workplace because of the great leaders, the owner and so on, and now I'm being promoted. Yes, brilliant. But maybe you need to go to another job. Maybe you're in your different department. Maybe you need to go to another job. Maybe you're in a different department. Maybe you'll be deployed. Maybe you're out on your own. So you still have to get good people around you, or at least good leadership traits. If you can't, this is a very good type of channel to go to because you get the research. You're going to get books. You're going to get good things that you can learn from. Courses, short courses, driving the car to and from work. Remember the old book on tape? Well, we're old enough to know. Try to avoid purely transactional workplaces. Leadership directly impacts well-being, so we have to balance it in some way or another. Lean on people, they're there for you. Take control if you can though, where possible, but not by denouncing others, not by pushing them out. Try to increase your autonomy in your role in some ways, but delegate in other ways. Well, let's put it this way, if you're doing it in one way and you're stressed, try and do it in another way. Try and bring people on board, utilize their skills, look through their resume, look deeper to what maybe is something they did in a summer job as a student and use that skill. Make decisions then. Don't just follow orders. People that are micromanaging are great, super, we love them, they put in the effort, but they got to make the big decisions. People will disrespect you otherwise. So control improves mental health and well-being. And speaking of which, I'd feel better if you like the video. If you appreciate it, thank you so much. You can make a comment too, or no, well, that's grand, it's negative, but I'll understand, I'll try and improve. And then you can subscribe, maybe now, that'll do. Thank you so much. Now, develop a learning mindset, because I was speaking with a young person the last day in a company. I said, look, just because you've got all these badges and all these certificates, it doesn't matter. Why? Because you're starting off at the very bottom. It's a game of snakes and ladders. You've got to get up that ladder and you might fall back down again, but that's the competitive environment. So make sure you're continually building skills, adapting to the environment, adapting to the competition, and going further. There's always a way of collaboratively learning, so you can actually get to know your peers, trust, build rapport, build that great culture, and also learn. Because growth reinforces confidence between yourselves and your relationships, in your thought process to try and create and innovate as well. Avoid the material success trap. We often get into that trap ourselves. Don't define success only by money, the big cars, the big watches. It's fake. Because if we focus on meaning and contribution, having a big why, answering that for ourselves, that will truly drive us on, get us up when we need and when we fall down. Try to reconnect with your community and have shared goals. The older you get, and you will do, the more you want to connect and look back on memories of doing those things with great people. So if you can engage in teamwork and collective purpose, it's a natural thing to do. Try to move away from individual only. That doesn't mean to say you can't do things on your own. That doesn't mean to say even if you're a leader, you can't go fishing, play golf, things like that. But have a time and place for everything. Because shared goals certainly will really build motivation in the shorter term. Address your lack of confidence directly. Okay, don't be sitting on the fence. There's a thing called self-confidence, but there's also a thing called self-leadership, and recognize it. Recognize that the motivation is declining, that you need these things, that little push from within yourself. Take proactive steps to rebuild it. You need it. It's like a bandage. You need to keep refreshing the bandage, and it will grow back eventually, because confidence is core driver of action. So keep pushing yourself forward. Try to adopt a solution-oriented mindset and focus on what can be improved. Look at the unrealistic things and leave them on the outside, because you'll only have more frustration if you try to concentrate on the wrong things, because action restores a sense of control. My final takeaway from looking at the research is, well, the real danger isn't stress, it's losing belief in what you're doing and why you did it for the first place and how you're going to keep on doing it. These two works that I've just shared, the research, is firstly, whether in a hospital or look in a country, in a company even, in an organization, it depends always on confidence, purpose and connection. Without them, even capable people will lose motivation. So there's a confidence crisis for sure with men in middle age. Well, at least some men. But there are also reasons to be cheerful at this age too. As you see, there are men that are confident. So let's look at how. Right now, let's look at how you can be a more confident man in your 40s. Of course I'm confident, because that's what the research says. We'll get into that in a second. But first, imagine in your 40s right now that you're not confident within. You seem to be successful from the outside. Your children, maybe you're single and you have all the ladies, and maybe it's a thing where the money is rolling in, but in fact you don't feel that way. We'll delve into the research right now, because in this first piece of research in Fiona, Gesthoff and Lockman, researchers have argued that midlife, in your 40s that is, has been misunderstood, because it's been widely accepted that those that are coming into the 40s are like having a midlife crisis. A review found that only about 10 to 20% of those that come into this age group or age bracket in their 40s are actually going to experience a midlife crisis. So leadership control, decision-making ability and so on are going to be vastly changed because of that. It's time in your 40s to grow up and maybe to be successful. Well, a lot of people see it from the outside, and in a second article by Time magazine, they say in a concurrent way that yes, we agree. Like, here's what happens in the 40s. Men are feeling more confident in general. They have that ability to open out in the social roles they're expected to be in. They can have career leadership, and there are other factors more so that strengthen or should strengthen their confidence. If it's not happening to you though, there are 10 solutions, and let's dig into them and see how we can get that for you. Firstly, you need to stop interpreting pressure as a factor for performance. Now, this is coming from the research that we've mentioned. Midlife overload is normal. To have all of these things going on, to be either in a relationship or still seeking a relationship and having that pressure of time, or having the relationship where you have children, or a bit of both. Then not only that, you perhaps have elderly parents or elderly people in life that you have to keep an eye on and do things for. Then that's just outside of work. You have all these pressures within yourself. Oh my gosh, time is going, it's slipping by. This is normal. Multiple roles create hidden stress. Feeling stretched is normal. Welcome to midlife through the entry of the 40s. But that stretched feeling does not mean that you are not going to succeed. It doesn't mean that you're weak either. It's what others in their 40s are feeling. Now think about all the different industries in the world, not just your own. Think about all the different countries in the world. Other people and men are feeling that, not just now as you watch this video, this point in time, not just the point in time that this was recorded, but in fact, this is general research over the years. So what do? We need to reframe the 40s as a leadership stage in life. We have to grab hold of it and say that you possess accumulated experience enough to actually improve on what you're doing. If it hasn't happened for now, or others on the outside see you as a success, but you really don't feel that way, you can grab hold of it and use what you already know. Your judgment has improved over decades. Yes, there's a couple of decades in your adulthood alone, not to mention going back and thinking about childhood here and thinking about all the things you're good at, all the things and the ambitions you had, all the things you thought you'd have in life, or the feeling more so. Very important. The feeling that you thought you'd have by the time you got to this point in life. So we have to mold ourselves into that feeling by having leadership maturity. And by doing so, this often peaks around now in your 40s. So your decision-making capacity can improve. You can be less shy, less anxious. Sure, that's another thing. However, your ability and the style that you have, it's pretty much cemented right now. So begin to use it. You need to audit your roles. I mentioned a couple of roles earlier on. So try to go through them, look at the time sink of it all. Write down everything you do and every responsibility you have. Is there a way of spending time in a better way? Is there a way of saving time in a better way? Should you be delegating certain things? And when I say that, not only in work, but it could be in personal life too. Is that eldest son or daughter ready for a little bit more responsibility with an older adult or something in your life? Maybe there. Identify unnecessary commitments too. That's very, very helpful, because if you're putting in too much time or spending too much time at one thing or with one person in work, in meetings, for example, I have lots of videos on that. There's loads of ways of cutting the cord on that and doing it in a different, more efficient way. Reduce the invisibility of it all. What? The invisibility of the burdens that you have. There's people pulling on you, whatever direction you look at, be it work, be it personal life, be it wanting more, be it yourself pulling on yourself. You've got to push yourself in the right direction with this research. You need to rebuild your control beliefs. If you're lacking that belief, reconstruct it, okay? If we're having a house here, we need to take the blocks up a little bit. Go back a stage or two, no problem. I was fresher, I was better, I was more energetic maybe 2, 5, 10 years ago. Okay, you're still 40s, it's cool. So rebuild it. Focus on what you can influence, not what you cannot. Small wins need to be celebrated in certain ways so they restore your confidence. Even if you haven't had confidence up until now, go get it, Tiger. This is the time to do it. Confidence grows from action. So doing one small thing possibly well will improve things along the way. Now, with that in mind, if you like this video, please like it, please comment, and we can have a conversation. I can help you personally, and subscribe for more. Try to update your skills as well. Retraining reduces fear of becoming outdated. And that's a natural fear. I remember having the phone call with a good friend of mine, and he's in a totally different industry as me. And he'd done all this training and extra training and so on. And then boom, he couldn't leave the position he was in because there was no positions out there, and he was applying and he wasn't getting anything back. And he thought, oh, it's my age group now. So there's a fear that we can remove. Try new learning, because new learning builds momentum. So we had this conversation with regard to the learning he had, not just the qualification he got from that, to bring that into the job applications, to show that maturity, that experience. Have the adaptability, because if you have it, it increases leadership confidence. Try to invest in your physical health. You are a couple of decades older, so we need to make sure we're getting the very most blood from the orange. Exercise improves energy, and you can filter that into your workload then as well. And better health then supports your confidence. Now, I did touch on the fact that you could be single, or indeed in a relationship, or have children, or a lot of people as dependents on you in your personal life, or even in work. You might get on with the boss, be the boss, You might be isolated. Now, isolation reduces resilience. Keep that in mind. Try to use generativity as fuel though. Mentor younger colleagues. You'll almost take the energy from them and be able to fuel yourself going forward and share your experience in that way. There's something natural about getting things out of the mouth yourself, and then you go, God, I remember when I was that age, and then you'll retrace your steps and refuel yourself in that way by sharing your experience. Teaching others reinforces your own value in yourself, what you have to give. In this time of technology, it's surely very beneficial to feel that self-establishment and self-worth essentially going into your work and life. Redefine your success. What does it mean to you now? I mentioned also previously looking at yourself when you're younger, looking forward, but what do you want to look at in the next 20 years or so at yourself? Where do you want to be? Re-establish where things are going within yourself. Times have changed, technologies and the whole world and economy's changed. They change in a day, one button, one press, one different decision by a so-called leader in the world, and the whole thing changes and you have to change with it. So redefine the success by stop comparing yourself to your 30-year-old self or what you thought you would be when you were younger. That's gone. Leadership now evolves over time, and your leadership can evolve too with what you already know in your personality and leadership types. Growth now is about depth, not speed. So stop. Use that little bit of pensiveness in your 40s and go, okay, I'm here. Where am I going though? I've had this conversation with myself before, maybe in my 20s or teens or whatever else. Well, this is the time to just retrace those steps in that way. And then build evidence of progress. Track weekly achievements. Try to look at this periods of time in a tighter vein so that it doesn't go off and a year later you go, oh my gosh, like I'm a year older and what did I do? I had that great plan a year ago because I hit 40. Record positive feedback, even if it's little tidbits of what people say. My own thoughts reflect what I said at the very beginning, right? That a lot of people would have previously thought, oh, you're in your 40s, you're slowing down, I'm old and crotchety and all these kind of things, I'm stiff. No. And then you have that reflection in work. No, not at all. In fact, it's a time of perspective. It's a time of looking at the capacity you still have and being wise from what you've learned today, hopefully in this video, from the great research. So there's nothing less to say except enjoy your 40s. Not everybody will be confident though, but if they are, they may not look as if they are. So it is important to know how to appear confident when others see you lacking. So let's look at it right now. Can't do it, can't do it, I can't do it. You might think that. Or you may have noticed that some colleagues seem to rise faster, not because they're better, because they look more confident. You start to wonder, is success less about what you do and more about how others perceive you, your effort? Yeah, this research shows that appearing self-confident and not just being confident strongly affects the influence and your influence at work. However, while men gain influence directly from appearing confident, women, on the other hand, must also show the pro-social, likable, cooperative side of things in their behaviour. A second article by Sturdy, Blocktonhurst, with Stanley and Littlejohns show that management as a self-confidence trick shows there's an argument that much of professional success is not about applying knowledge, but instead about developing a sense of self-confidence and identity. They say that MBAs or having those big qualifications work less by teaching skills and more by giving people the language and confidence to appear credible and legitimate. Both articles are interesting, right? These articles reveal a deeper truth. Success at work is not just about confidence, it's also about confidence as performance. One shows that appearing confident shapes influence, while the other shows that confidence itself is often constructed, learned, and performed as a social signal. So how can we bring it all together then? Well, prioritize visible confidence. Results alone are not enough. Others must see your confidence. So going and beating your chest, if you don't have it all and you don't feel it, you need more. Perception drives influence. Try to understand confidence as a social signal. Remember what I said about the women. You as a man have to put all that energy into confidence signals, the capability and the control aspect of things. People trust confident individuals. Influence often follows perception. So if you are faking it till you make it, guess what? Master the language of authority. Confidence is expressed through commanding language. Master the language of authority. Confidence is expressed through communication. Try to use clear, decisive language. Try to use your native language if you can. And if not, be simplistic with the words you use in the foreign language that you're using. Language builds credibility, and the specific words you use are so important. Develop performative confidence. That means that confidence is partly a performance. Not exactly, like I said, fake it till you make it. It's more that you're fulfilling the prophecy. Behavior shapes the perception. Acting confident can temporarily create real confidence, because if you allow it to lead you and you're genuinely, thoroughly trying to learn, it will bring you along the way, almost like guidelines when you're doing the, join the dots. Try to align performance with visibility, because high performance must be noticed. And if you communicate your achievements strategically, it's a very good thing. Silent competence is often ignored, so don't be afraid to put it as a line on your resume. Now look, if you like this video, please show it by liking it and also comment, good or bad. We'll have a discussion and subscribe too. Moving on. Build credibility through consistency. Confidence must be repeatable and repeated, because consistency then, in a good way, builds trust. And who does it build trust with? The people. That's why you get up the chain of command. Trust then increases your influence. Even though you might be a junior manager, people are saying, that's something good about that person. Recognize the role, if you can, of identity, because work shapes how you see yourself, and identity influences behavior, and strong identity then supports confidence. It's like a snowball effect that's improving all the way along. Try not to rely though just on your skills, on your technical expertise, because knowledge alone doesn't guarantee influence. Rather, the expertise must be communicated confidently. Confidence amplifies skill. Manage impressions consciously. Others from wherever department, no matter whether they're further away or right in front of you in your office, they have opinions, and they can have quick judgments if they're further away as well, because confidence affects those judgments. Be intentional about what you're doing, who you're saying it to, and what message you're conveying, and accept that confidence can feel artificial, because it often starts as learned behavior, but it may feel like a performance magnet. My final takeaway is that the real problem is not a lack of ability, it's invisible confidence. One article showed that influence depends on how confident you appear, while the other showed that confidence itself is often something that you can construct, not inherit. And for us, men our age, the lesson is clear. Your experience gives you competence, but your visibility gives you power. So you can appear confident, but the other side of the coin is that your confidence can fail at any time in middle age. It's something that we've outlined a little bit earlier in this video. So there are different types of confidence that we need to be aware of. Let's look at them right now. I'm confident, but it doesn't matter according to the research. It's more about the type of confidence that you have to become a great leader. That's what we're looking at right now. You have problems maybe as a leader and you're a confident person, but it doesn't really matter. I'm a best-selling author and a full-time researcher, and I'm in my 40s, a leader. Research examined military leaders and explored how leadership and self-efficacy influenced leadership. They found a distinction of leadership assertiveness efficacy, which is confidence in making decisions and leading others. This predicted developmental leadership, but also leadership control efficacy, which is remaining calm while emotionally controlled, did not consistently predict stronger leadership performance. Now, in a second article, it strengthens their findings. Researchers studying leadership in environments such as business found that leadership self-efficacy generally predicted that leadership effectiveness was there, but that the relationship became more complicated when task complexity increased. This matters to us in our 40s as leaders, as men, is because we know that context matters, pressure matters, and complexity matters, because again, that's what the research is saying to us. So how can we solve the problem of mid-career or men in their 40s? Rebuilding leadership confidence. Well, stop equating calmness with leadership confidence. It's not necessarily that calmness and leadership confidence are aligning together. Remaining composed does matter for sure. It's a very good starting point. But if we jump off it too quickly and assume that confidence is the only way that's going to guide us forward, that's where there's a big mistake. Remember that composure alone does not automatically create leadership. And it doesn't automatically create people that want to follow you, that feel confident that you're confident, and therefore they should be led by you. To distinguish between confidence and action. Many leaders say, if I felt more confident, I'd lead better. So it's just a matter of confidence. But no, the research is saying differently, because it's suggesting that action often strengthens confidence, not only the reverse. Now, if you build decision confidence, it's a better thing than looking at general confidence and all. Leadership assertiveness includes, according to the research, making decisions. Now, if we stop on that point for a second, there's a lot of decisions we have to make in a day. As a man in our 40s, we may be looking after older people like older people. We may be looking after younger people like children. We may be looking after people in work as a boss. And with all of that, there's many, many decisions. People are inconsistent, and therefore we have to make decisions for the better of them. But also, if we're in business, we have to be looking at the bottom line, the bucks, the lula, and the money that keeps these people in jobs so that they're not emotional at all. I might be coming across as if leadership is a tough thing, but remember, there are also wins in leadership. They might only be very small, but you need to use those small leadership wins, because self-efficacy develops through successful experiences. By looking on the previous experiences prior to this video, they might be negative. You might have been attracted to the topic of this video because of challenges with your confidence within your leadership. But that doesn't mean to say there's not small wins right now, even today, even as you're thinking through different things in management that you have right now, or leadership aspects in your life. Stop interpreting complexity in this way, then we're going to be more successful. Complex environments weaken confidence, performance, and relationships. If you're, say, asking, is this hard because I'm weak, or is this genuinely difficult? These are normal questions to have right now, but there's certainly questions that you have to have going forward if you want to improve your confidence in your decision making, in yourself as a leader going forward in any aspect of your business or life. You need to audit your leadership story. I touched on taking out an iPhone or a pen and paper, and this is really good. We can take a diary of this because we need to write down recent wins. Let's broaden it out now from the tiny wins. Maybe there's bigger wins. There might only be one, but there's certainly one in one aspect of your life. There has to be leadership within your relationship, or relationships at work, or within older people, or even friendships. Just grasp onto one recent win and build from there. Just take it all apart. Look at the ingredients. Why did you make the decision in that regard, in that way, at that time? Another thing we need to do is practice developmental leadership. Researchers linked confidence within these studies with inspiring others, role modeling, and motivating teams. You can bundle all these three things together. These are great leadership traits, in that you walk into a room and suddenly a person goes, that is a leader. Don't have to have a badge on them. I know they're the leader, because they're being decisive. They're practicing developmental leadership. They're showing the practice. That means you can take all the nuggets of the past, even if you failed at your leadership, if you're not confident in it, and you can take them all apart, put them back together, and now you're practicing. It's actually a verb. It means there's action there with regard to trying to improve. If people see that you're trying to improve, if people see that you're trying to make the best decision, you'll get there. Leadership is influence, not certainty, all of the time. Try to reduce your hidden stress load. It's there. Just acknowledge it. You don't have to tell everybody. You don't even have to tell me in the comments, but welcome down below, because confidence falls under excessive strain. Try to review your workload. If you can just take away one little thing a day, or even one little thing at a certain time of day that irritates you, then you are reducing the potential for stress. Uncertainty can also be a pusher towards stress. And we mentioned relationships. There could be one person there that makes you feel very uncertain. So get them out as much as possible of your life. Role overload. You can be pushed with different things too that overload the role, and we need to decrease them. We need to specify exactly what's beneficial and what is not. Be efficient in our progress. But if you rebuild through contribution, you're going to have a benefit, because mentor younger colleagues will bounce the information back to you. You teach, you'll feel good, and with teaching you'll start looking at the theory and what should happen. It'll also remind you of things you did well in the past. Try to guide, because rebuilding through contribution helps rebuild not just your mentee, the coachee, the person that you're helping, but it helps you to remind yourself as you're driving away from the session that, gosh, I used to make decisions in a different way. Leadership confidence often returns when leaders notice what they've missed out on. And the great thing about it is you can redefine your leadership strength. Younger leaders often rely on energy. You're a little bit older, but you're not ancient. You're in your mid-40s or 40s, somewhere along the line. But your mid-career leadership often leads with judgment. You have sound judgment. You're going to be better because of this video, I hope. Your perspective, that's where the research is coming from, to give and feed into your personal perspective. And you have, or should at least have, more emotional maturity at this time. Now, these studies suggest a powerful message for men trying to rebuild their leadership confidence. Leadership is not simply believing in yourself. Effective leadership comes from acting, deciding, adapting, and continuing. And my last piece of my takeaway for your bonus is that it's about you and your personal perspective. So right now, after this video, you can go ahead and improve. Okay, with all that said and done now, it's time to look at the daily habits that will guarantee confidence for you. I always sleep every day in a 24-hour period, so do you, I'm sure, because that's a daily habit. But we're looking at what daily habits help men in our 40s regain decisiveness and self-belief. We often tell ourselves and other people to believe in yourselves, but the research right here is telling us very different. We're going to look into it right now. Most people think that confidence creates action. This research is different. Rather, it says that action creates confidence, and repeated action eventually creates identity. Now, the first study that I'm looking at examined habit building and self-efficacy using an app that tracked repeated behaviors. Now, the research found that general self-efficacy predicted stronger habit automaticity. Habit-specific self-efficacy and automaticity reinforced one another in a kind of a feedback loop. Now, the great thing about this loop was that it was positive, because greater self-efficacy predicted less motivational interference, therefore less procrastination, resistance, less distraction overall. But it's not the only study we're looking at here, because the second one is all about finding out where self-efficacy came from. Researchers also found that mastery experiences, therefore the success experiences or feelings of success that we can have as a middle-aged man, well, that breathes into the stronger source of self-efficacy. Not positive thinking, not inspiration, and certainly not motivation, but repeated successful experiences feed into this self-efficacy. So what these two research articles are saying, that there can be a reverse here in what people often think, in that confidence equals action equals success. But in the research is saying that small success then brings confidence, then brings habits, then brings more success. Now, the second article also found that positive emotional states and self-persuasion actually mattered, but neither would the influence of mastery experiences. So you believe yourself most after the evidence accumulates, is what this research is saying. So how can we have this rebuilding of our leadership confidence within our self-mastery, our self-belief, and our decisiveness? Well, number one, we can shrink the goal until success is nearly guaranteed, because self-efficacy grows through mastery experiences. So what does this mean then? Well, be a little bit itty-bitty easier on ourselves, not saying to ourselves, okay, I need to exercise daily. Instead say, I walk 10 minutes. Not saying to yourself, I need to write a book, but I write 100 words. And then we start getting into the habit loop from here on in. It also says that we should build repetition before intensity. It means that our habit strength increases through repeated performance. Frequency matters more than heroic effort. That means that if you're trying to write the book, write 10 words today. Write 5 words if that's all you can. Now you might fall down on the 5 words and start reading them out loud and saying to yourself, this is absolute rubbish. But you've still written 5 words. Tomorrow, maybe 6. That's okay. And make them better. Little incremental steps makes you run a mile. Also, stop depending on motivation. Booyah! Motivation fluctuates. This is a human state, and in our 40s as men we can have hormonal issues too. Let's not get too deeply into that right now. Automaticity though reduces mental effort. So putting aside the actual motivation for now, try to create routines that function even on low energy days. That means a weekend, or if you're having a night out, or if you're going somewhere and you're going to be up late or something like that. Just have the routine penciled in with regard to the day that's off or the day that you're late or something like that. What you want to do is create actual action. Try to create environmental triggers as well, because habits rely heavily on cues. For example, after coffee, you write. That's the thing you do. So you socially go for coffee, you have a time with a friend, and then they go. And you're outside the coffee house, and then you take out your notebook, and off you go, and you write your few words. Or after work, you exercise. It's just a thing you do. You avoid traffic, and you go into the gym. Or after dinner, you reflect on things. You put those little actions, one thing leads to another. It's like the Sunday night and that dreaded feeling for school, and the Monday morning, the big week ahead of something you hate doing. Put in something that you like doing after it, and that creates a new habit, and the trigger is before it. Try to track your evidence, not your feelings. We are emotional beings. We come to 40. We come to a little bit more after 40, and the numbers start going up. But if we track our evidence, we're going at the facts of things, because confidence improves and success becomes visible. Keep simple records. You have your phone now. There's a wealth of, a depth more of space for information. It's up to you to put the right information there to track the evidence. So simple like records of your workouts, and it doesn't have to be, remember back in the day you had a big cardboard evidence that you had to clunk around the gym with you. You had to oh yeah, I got 5 out of 10 there, and I lifted a bit more and all that, and people are looking at you. No, you don't need that. It can be private. You can also test your memory by memorizing it before you go in and record it in the changing room. Have conversations, have accountability buddies. Writing sessions also track evidence, whatever way you can build on the numbers and record them. Look, it is a fact that confidence might come a little bit later, so expect that. Many people quit because confidence does not support their activity and it's not happening immediately. But these studies show that confidence often follows repetition. So get up and running, get up and moving, get up and writing, get up and doing the simple things well. Now, you've already come to halfway-ish between now and the end of the video. So if you like it, please do show that through a like. Please hit comment and let's have a simple dialogue. I can help you, and I can certainly help you more by the fact that you subscribe. I'll repeat this and keep doing the research, keep looking into the research for you. Use self-talk strategically. Verbal self-persuasion ranked surprisingly high in the research. So try, I've done difficult things before. Yes, you have. You have decades behind you. You have a couple of decades as being an adult. You've done independent things before. Sure, you failed, but you've also succeeded in other aspects. Things that are simple to you and come naturally to you do not come to others. They have anxieties and depressions around those things. You don't. The people that are actually hiding those things away, and even psychology hasn't found certain fears and illnesses of the mind yet with regard to things that you can do in your sleep. So give yourself a clap on the back. Reduce friction. The easier the action, the greater the repetition. I only touched on, but I'll emphasize a little bit more. Whatever is easiest for you to do, you can do it again. Remember, the athlete, when they're younger, they know what it feels to go a little bit further. And before you know it, you're going much faster. The greater the repetition, the greater the habit and strength. Remember, it ain't getting out there and doing it and having the gold medal. It's actually having the habit built in where the mind is just pulling the body outside to do it. And it's the same for all habits in whatever action you're trying to take. But with regard to your confidence, prepare an emergency version. One study used emergency habits and had a shortened version for the difficult days, the off days. For example, if you're in the gym and you're doing want to do 45 minutes, You might just do 5 minutes and do the worst particular exercises like your push-ups or your sit-ups, just to make sure you want to get that buzz moment at the end of your 6 weeks or your 6 months or whatever it is that you're doing in the gym. And that's just an example. It's the same with writing. If you get to say 100 words after a couple of days and you're having a bad day, then, well, what's the part of the writing you really find difficult? Well, maybe it isn't actually writing 100 words today. It's actually going through and editing it. Look at it like that. And then you're actually making yourself a habit. And on the 7th day, maybe the difficult day, you have the habit of editing. And then you'll improve overall. And you're creating the attention to detail with your workload. Redefine leadership confidence. Leadership confidence may not come from feeling powerful. It may come from repeatedly proving, I do what I say I will do. And you know what? That's the promise to you yourself. And that's where your identity lies. Be honest with yourself. I cannot be honest with you except to produce what I can do. And then when I get to know you, sure, then I'm loyally linked in with you. But you are loyally linked in with yourself. You've been around all of your breathing life with one person, and that's yourself. So do what you say you're going to do for yourself. My takeaway is that, look, in your 40s, it's often seen if there's a mid-career confidence struggle that it's to do with motivation. But these studies suggest that it may actually have to do with evidence problems. The human brain, that is your brain, actually believes in repeated proof rather than repeated encouragement.
Thanks for watching. Please like this video. If you subscribe, comment to say that you have, and we'll look after you.